What we have here is we have our main entrance exit to the convention center. And you can see we're denoted by exit signs located above. And anytime in any building, you always want to have a minimum of 2 ways out. So when you walk out into a corridor, you should be able to look either way and see something that indicates direction for the occupant to get out of the building. And in doing so, once you walk up to your door, it should take one motion to put a door in motion. So quite often, you'll see this type of device. You have 2 types of hardware. It's either panic hardware or fire exit hardware. They look exactly the same. Most often, fire exit hardware is going to be a fire rated hardware. It's going to have a UL listing, and it is going to look exactly like this, but it's going to be on interior doors. And the reason why it's on interior doors is because the hardware is rated, and it's rated to match the integrity of the wall so that you have a fire barrier, so that if you're trying to exit, when you go up and you hit that door, you don't have to worry about malfunctions because of heat. One of the ways to denote it is you'll see a small hole right here. And whenever you have this hole, that's so that you can dog the door down in the open position. And this is only allowed on panic hardware. And panic hardware, looking just like fire exit hardware, is going to be on exterior doors only. So as an example, if I walk up to the door, it should take one motion to put this door in motion and for me to get to the outside. And that's what's the most important thing. We often go up to doors in business and assembly occupancies, and we see a device like this, but then we see key double cylinder deadbolt locks, we see thumb latches, and we see other things. If I go up to a door, it should not take a tool, special knowledge, or effort to unlock the door and put the door in motion. If I have to do multiple operations, we're going to deem the door as not up to code. Now, likewise, on some businesses, you are allowed to have a double cylinder lock requiring a key on the inside to unlock, providing that you have nothing else. All you have to do is push the outside leaf of the door to put it in motion, and that you have a sign on the inside that says this door will remain unlocked during business hours. Most businesses should have a parking lot or a designated area where they can go to and meet and then have accountability. The problem with that in most jurisdictions is, where's the fire department coming in? Where are they going to be moving into this area? Because we certainly don't want to evacuate a large number of people from a business right in the way of where the fire department's going to set up and start their fire department operation and their firefighting suppression activities. So we need to be kind of smart and strategic and make sure that we have that point of safety in a kind of an unobtrusive area that's not really, doesn't have a lot of vehicular traffic, and we can get people there, they can be accounted for, and they can be safe. So number of exits, clear passageways. We don't want a lot of obstructions in the way. Often when we do inspections, we look down hallways and we see copy machines and shelving units and chairs and so forth. Well, corridors are for walking. They're not for storage. They're not copy rooms and so forth. So when we design a building, we make sure that we have adequate capacity width to accommodate the doors. So typically in the design and architecture and engineering, if we have a double set of doors, we're going to have a corridor that's no less than that to accommodate that number of people. So when we start putting all these things in that corridor, we are in fact blocking our exit. Okay, so we always say, hey, we build a good building and then we put people in them. So we'll build a nice building, and then we as people, creatures of habit, we come in and we want access to things. So we'll put stuff in our hallways, we'll put stuff in corridors, and we're actually obstructing our egress and our ability to exit the building safely. But when you go to your restaurants and you sit down, you need to realize that the door you came in may not be the best way out. You need to condition yourself to look for other options. Most often we go in a door, we sit down, and we're trained to go right back out the same door. We don't think about the other options. Same thing when we go to grocery stores, when we go to the malls. We're creatures of habit. We tend to park in the same places. We tend to drive the same ways. We tend to go out the same door we came in, and kind of need to break that up and be mindful of other options, because if something happens, it's estimated that half of the occupants are going to go toward that main entrance exit, the place they came in, and we're going to have a bottleneck effect and we're going to get stuck. Drills need to be conducted often, and the best thing to do with a drill is not notify everybody that you're going to do them. I remember as a child being in school and having our teacher come in and say, hey, we're going to be doing a fire drill today. I want everybody to line up orderly by the door. When the bell rings, we're all going to go outside and we're going to behave and this type of thing. Well, in a real fire situation, we're not going to be notified. We're not going to line up at the door, and we're not going to be orderly. So the best thing to do is to keep the fire drills and the release and actuation of that drill to just one or two people. Use the fire alarm devices provided that's at the building to activate, because obviously when you have a real fire, it's going to be the system that goes off. It's not going to be a person saying, hey, we're in a drill right now. So use your systems, do it often, do it monthly, do it quarterly at a minimum. Most of these systems are monitored systems, which means that they're paying a provider, and that provider is monitoring alarms for many buildings, and then they notify 911 when there's a fire alarm activation. So a good time to always do a drill is when your fire alarm company comes out to do an inspection. Okay, then that way they can notify their company and let them know, hey, we're going to do a drill, so don't notify 911, or get your fire marshal's office involved, or the fire department. Say, hey, we'd like to have a drill, and we'd like to have you guys come out. And that way they won't notify the emergency services. They'll do the drill and they'll test the system at the same time. So that's really the best way, is to have your provider do that, especially in our school settings, because we don't want to upset students or get people alarmed unnecessarily. When we have an incident like a suspicious package, our method of operation is to evacuate those in proximity to that package. And so quite often we will approach an apartment building or nearby businesses, and we will tell you that, hey, we have an event happening. We're not always going to tell the people what it is, because we don't want to get people frantic and upset, but we're going to give you direction. You need to leave the building right now, lock it up, and go. And sometimes we've had to get a little aggressive with people, because we're by and large having to tell them to vacate their business or their home, and that's uncomfortable for them, and they're trying to run an operation or make money, and we completely understand that. But when we give that type of direction, just listen to us, listen to what public safety is telling you, and get out of the area. It's for your best interest, and it will also help firefighting operations and police activity, because we don't have to worry about those people.